Hi guys, it's me Anne from Geeks of Green, and today I welcome you to the plant table where we will talk about the very popular and hardy Syngonium. I'm making this video based on the amount of questions that I get about this plant. But before I start, I'll quickly invite you to follow me on Instagram for closer interactions and also to be a part of a growing plant loving community. We have daily updates and a lot of fun planty activities that you can involve yourself in. So come be a part of this. The Syngonium is a genus of plants that belong to the Araceae family. They usually grow in tropical rainforests and subtropical forests or wetlands. The Syngonium podophyllum is the species in the genus Syngonium, and the podophyllum is commonly kept as a house plant, and there are a number of variants that you can choose from. There are around 33 species and many cultivars, especially of the podophyllum. It grows as a climbing epiphyte, that is, as a plant that grows on trees using it as support or as a herbaceous ground cover. Some of the few interesting names it goes by are the arrowhead plant or arrowhead vine based on the arrowhead shape of the juvenile leaves. Also, people call it arrowhead philodendron. Some other interesting common names are goose foot and African evergreen. The plants that we see at home are usually the juvenile form, and in ideal conditions, they grow to their full potential, and the adult form looks quite different. It has much larger leaves with several leaflets. It was originally confused with the Nephtitis genus, which is actually a different plant. Even now, this name has stuck, and so often we hear people calling it the Nephtitis, and they still use this name for the plant. Oftentimes, Syngonium hybrids revert back to their original form based on the light conditions and the conditions that the plant is in. Now, this glogo, as you can see here, how initially the leaves when I bought were like this. Most of the leaves were all more white than green, but now it's reverting back. Like the new leaves, if you see, look at this one, resembles the original podophyllum. Can you see the leaves here, how similar they look? So it's reverting back here. You can see they both belong to two different plants. It's a hybrid. So this is something you have to be ready for with your Syngonium. They do revert back. Even in this case, here I have a plum illusion, which also is reverting back because probably it's not getting enough light. You can see some of the leaves are pink. And this one also was a plum illusion, but now you can see how different it is looking. So the leaves are all reverting back to its original form. One of the most sought after Syngoniums is the Albo variegata, which is really stunning and beautiful, and it has been on my wish list for quite some time. I often have people asking me what's wrong with their Syngoniums, and the first question I ask them is, how much light are you giving it? Almost always the answer is very low. This, I believe, is a common misconception that all Syngoniums do well in low light conditions and for long durations, that too. For some time, they may tolerate low light, but eventually they will make their displeasure known. Firstly, how we understand light and what low light exactly is could be different to each one of us. So, we often tend to make mistakes while providing the right amount of light to our plants. For the Syngonium, I would say that give it bright indirect light, it will appreciate it. Especially the ones with variegated leaves, they do need more light. I have observed personally that this plant does well in direct morning mild light too. If the light is too harsh, the leaves may just simply crisp up. Water frequently, especially if your plant is in a spot where it gets bright light. It will dry up faster, and keeping the soil moist is important to keep this plant happy. I know I say this about every plant, but please don't overwater it. I can't stress enough how important it is to understand watering correctly. Poke your finger in a few inches deep, and if the soil is dry to touch, then water again. When you do water, do deep watering, adding water little by little till the substrate absorbs the water and till you see water eventually draining out from the bottom holes. This plant appreciates humidity and it will thrive in a humid spot. You could do a few hacks to increase the humidity around your plants. If you do live in a dry city, especially, humidity trays and keeping humidity loving plants together is a great way to start. If the plant is in a spot where there is constant airflow, it will dry up quicker. To deal with this, you could mist it as often as you can. Misting keeps the plant cool and moist, especially in the summer months. A well aerated, rich, and moisture retaining mix is great for this plant. It is great to mix up coco peat, garden soil, sand, and compost to make a well aerated mix that will also hold moisture for a longer time. As this plant doesn't like drying up and its leaves crisp up as soon as it is deprived of moisture. It also prefers a rich mix, so adding in compost will provide the plant for that, and this plant needs good nutrients to thrive. This plant can be fertilized every fortnight, that is once every 15 days, with a mild organic fertilizer. I use seaweed solution diluted in water and water these plants. You can hold back fertilizing in places where the temperature drops really low and the plant goes into dormancy. Come spring, the plant will grow back, and that is when you can start fertilizing your plant again. Like all aroids, it contains calcium oxalate that can cause irritation if the sap is ingested or if it comes in contact with your skin. It is also known to have raphides that may cause damage to your eyes if it comes in contact with the sap. I have handled this plant freely and have not had any problems. But someone who is sensitive should be more careful and definitely keep it away from your babies and from your pets. Prune regularly if you prefer a bushy look as opposed to a trailing look. Regularly pluck out drying leaves to keep the plant looking well groomed and fresh at all times. I usually use a rosette watering can to wet the leaves when I water the plants, and I clean the leaves out. But be careful to do this early in the morning so that you give the plant the entire day for their leaves to dry up before the evening sets in. As when the evening sets in and if the leaves are wet, the plant may be prone to bacterial infections. The syngonium could probably bear a minimum temperature of 16 degrees Celsius to 18 degrees Celsius in winters. It might show signs of distress below those temperatures. And if you talk about summer months, 20 degrees to 30 degrees is fine. Especially in the growing seasons, you will see that it will do very well in such temperatures. They're ideal for it. What I've also noticed is that even if temperatures go higher than that, this plant is pretty hardy and it tolerates a little bit of high temperatures better than most plants do. It is a fast growing plant, especially in the growing season, but some cultivars are slower. Under perfect outdoor conditions, these vines climb very high up on trees. They usually lose their variegation and develop multiple leaflets as adult leaves. The juvenile form has arrowhead shaped leaves, like I said before. It is very easy to propagate in soil. You just have to find the node where the aerial roots are starting to grow and cut it just below the node. Keep the soil moist. You can also easily root the cuttings in water. Just pick cuttings with a node and set it in a bottle of clear water. I know the syngonium is pretty hardy, and I know I've heard many people vouch for how hardy it is, that it doesn't come up, doesn't have any problems, and it's very easy to keep. But it does have a list of problems that could affect it. So let's just get into that. The first one is bacterial blight and stem rot. The stem becomes soft and starts to rot, and the leaves eventually rot and fall away. This happens to the lower leaves especially. You may also notice some darker spots on the leaves, and this happens mainly due to overwatering. The other bacterial infection is the bacterial leaf spot. What happens with this kind of infection is you will see translucent spots on the leaves, especially on the veins, and the leaves also become duller. So here's what you can do for both these bacterial infections. Firstly, avoid buying plants that are already infected. Buy plants that are healthy and free of diseases. Plants that are infected already have very less hope and they may have to be discarded. Be careful to water your plant or wet the leaves early in the day so that the plant has time to dry up before the cool evening sets in. Another thing you can do is apply a bactericide as a preventive measure to protect your plants if they are usually prone to such infections. Again, you will easily find a variety of these on Amazon. Myrothecium leaf spot. This is a fungal infection where you will see dark brownish spots that may have small fungal Fruiting structures. Avoid applying fertilizers with high nitrogen content and be careful to keep your plant leaves from getting wounded. Apply a fungicide to protect your plants as a preventive measure. SAF is a decent one that you will get on Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description box down below. You might notice your plants getting dull and looking sickly, and their growth also will be stunted. Apply a balanced fertilizer that will provide phosphorus to the plant. Low humidity and lack of water. This is another major problem that syngoniums face. You will notice the leaf veins turning yellowish brown to brown and then crisping up eventually. Lack of water and low humidity are more than likely the cause of this. Water regularly as soon as the top inch of the soil dries and increase the humidity around your plant if you can. Bleaching of leaves. This happens when the plant is getting too much light, maybe direct harsh sun. The leaves will either crisp or they will look all bleached. All you have to do is move your plant to a spot where it gets ideal light. Pests. As for pests, I have seen mealybugs attack these plants. So what you can do is use a diluted neem oil solution to get rid of mealybugs. You can watch my video on getting rid of mealybugs to know how to go about it. I will leave the link in the description down below. If you have aphids attacking, then you can use more or less the same method to get rid of these pests. I hope this video helps you take good care of your syngoniums and I hope they thrive under your care. If you found this video helpful in any way, do give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, don't forget to do so. And also remember to hit the bell icon for notifications. Follow us on Instagram too. I'll see you in another video next week. Till then, stay green.